from the very beginning shocked me about Aero was the fact that, it's obviously not cheap to do this. And I asked the CEO, how are you going to monetize this? How are you going to get your ROI? You going to make systems for cars for quadriplegics? And he's like, no, you don't get it, son. We didn't patent any of this technology. It's completely open source, and anybody that will use this technology to help people in any fashion, we'll just give it to them. We were preparing for the 2000 season and just crashed, boom, big. 200 miles an hour back to the wall, blew apart my C3, C4 vertebrae and was on a ventilator, and it didn't look good. So that was the racing career.
Yeah. Up until Aero
being a 80-year-old tech company, then began the journey. And so, but at that very first meeting, I said, look, this is going to take a lot of time and energy, and it's going to be fun and whatnot, but I have no interest in driving, 30, 40 miles an hour. I've been around Indianapolis at 225 miles an hour. I didn't really want to just go putt around, and do nothing. So they took it serious, and, literally less than 8 months from our first meeting, they got it done.
Yeah.
So it's unbelievable. So that was just the start. I mean, the beginning of a journey now, 7 years in that.
Okay, well, we'll come back to some of the evolution that took place between then and now. But I feel like we're sitting in this car, we're surrounded by sensors, cameras. I feel we've got to talk through how you drive this machine.
This last version is a much easier install, especially since I'm sitting on the right-hand side. It gives. Or the correct side, as you say. It gives a wider opportunity to mount the cameras, and therefore you need less of them. So we've only got 4 infrared cameras in front of me, and then on the glasses, there's dots, which the cameras read into, and so it's pretty simple. I just turn my head to the left, and the car turns to the left, goes to the right, same thing, and then I've got the straw. It's a relatively standard sip and puff mechanism where I blow to go and I can suck to stop. You can reverse that if you prefer. Things have evolved, but again, to do the really high speed stuff that we're doing, this system works remarkably well because total redundancy and reliability, and then there's the opportunity for the driver to take over if he needs to, but we've never had that happen.
In the traditional driver's seat, you get a little better reaction time, a little better feel for what's going on. So in the event of an emergency, they have the stock system that they could take control with.
Sam is fully in control without the ability to grab a physical steering wheel or a physical brake. If for some reason a battery died or the system were to fail in any way, we still have our physical hard controls into the car and input. If at very minimum we can depress the brake and bring the car to a stop.
They just simply grab the wheel and grab the paddles and they take over. So it's very straightforward, and you can give it back to me as well by pushing a button. So
I think we're constantly looking at how we can simplify the solution so it can go in more types of vehicles and make it easier for other people to adapt.
Now, obviously, we've been talking about this all in the context of racing, but with all this in mind, where does this lead you to think the technology should and maybe is going next?
I mean, I'm all for an autonomous situation in the sense that not everybody can afford a $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 minivan, right, for their own transportation. But I'm not the type of guy that wants to drive a minivan. So,
yeah.
But I think at least more important personally to me is how can we utilize this system or an adaptation of this system to get people with disabilities back to work. What are your goals in life? What do you need to accomplish them? What are the barriers? Is it transportation? Is it mobility? Is it technology? And let's break down those barriers. Let's make it more cost effective and get people out of the house and back into daily life. And so with our foundation in cooperation with Aero and everything else, I mean, that's really what we're working on in the States is, man, can we use this system to drive a harvester? or to drive a forklift or something of that nature. I guess if nothing else, it sort of re-inspired me, the capabilities that we have. They get me driving in 8 months and just kind of like, bam, I mean, it can happen. If you get the right people in the right room with the right resources, and you're going to do it. You got to set a goal and you got to get it done. And so all of these things are just, an absolute dream come true.
This has been Technically Speaking, and I'm Nate Langston. And also, I don't have a driver's license. For more content like this, though, follow us on your favorite platforms.